Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of Covidence 101. I'm going to show you how Covidence can save you time and help better manage your review projects. And just so you guys know, Covidence also runs a step-by-step webinar series that can provide a bit more in-depth information on all of what I'm going to tell you today. I'm going to give you an overview of all areas of the platform today. And I'm going to be the session presenter. My name's Stephanie. I'm a community manager at Covidence, and I'm based in the United States. I am joined by my colleague, Delindia. She's also a community manager based in the United States. She's going to help me answer questions that come through on the Q&A box. So just some housekeeping before we begin. So today's session is being run in standard webinar mode. All webinar attendees are muted, but you can ask questions at any time using the question box on the right-hand side of your screen. And like I said, Delindia is going to be helping me answer those as I present. And if there isn't time to answer all of the questions during the presentation, we'll respond directly to people via email afterwards. And you'll also receive a recording of this webinar via email about 24 hours after the session concludes. And we'll also have time for questions at the end. So before I jump in, I'm going to provide a little bit of contextual information about Covidence. So Covidence was created by and for the research community, and it's designed to streamline the review process from the title and abstract screening through extraction and risk of bias. Our platform allows review teams to significantly reduce the amount of time spent on reviews, ultimately meaning people are able to produce high quality evidence faster. We have a team around the globe who work continuously to improve the product and provide technical support for our community around the globe, like you all. And the platform is entirely cloud-based with nothing to download, and we support the world's largest review community with over 400,000 users around the globe. I do want to point out that Covidence we're not a reference manager, a database, or a search engine, and we do not perform meta-analysis. We streamline the workflow from title and abstract screening, full text review, data extraction, quality assessment, risk of bias. So it is only when you're done setting up your team and deciding the research question and developing your search strategy, running the search on various databases, and having a list of relevant studies where Covidence comes into the picture. So you might be wondering how Covidence can help you. It's important to know that Covidence is so you can maximize its use in your review project. And ultimately, it's a tool that's going to help you screen, retrieve full text, and keep track of your data and workflow in line with the requirements of PRISMA 2020. All right. And here's what I'm going to cover today. So we're going to cover creating an account, creating a review, importing, title and abstract screening, settings, full text review, extraction 2.0, exporting, and PRISMA. So we've got a lot to cover today. But before I get started, I'm actually going to run a poll. And that poll is, how confident do you feel about using Covidence for your review? You can select one of the following: very confident, somewhat confident, or not confident at all. I'll give you guys a few seconds here to fill this out. All right. And we have got 10% feeling very confident, 39 somewhat confident, and 51 not confident at all. All right. So thank you guys for taking the time to fill that out. All right. So I have a couple slides here, and then I'm going to go onto the live platform and do a live demo. But most people join Covidence via an invitation, kind of similar to this one. This This example is an invitation to join an institutional account, but if you receive an invitation to join a review project, it's going to look very similar. So when you click on Accept Invitation, this button, you'll be taken to the main landing page for Covidence, where you can either sign in or create an individual user account. You can also do that on the main page by clicking the free trial button. So you can click on the free trial button and it'll look like this. It is free for anyone to create an account on Covidence. We have a free trial option that you can sign up here. And when you actually go to sign in, when you're accepting your invitation, you'll be prompted to either sign in or sign up on a page that looks like this one. We recommend that you use your professional, student, or university email when creating your account, when you're joining Covidence. So if you do have institutional access, you can join up with that. Or if your institution, the future down the line, gets Covidence, you can more easily affiliate your account with it. And you can add additional emails to your profile, but each account should be associated with one individual. You can have multiple emails on one account, but you don't want to have more than one person, because it is free for anyone to create an account on Covidence. Nobody needs to be logging into a different person's account to be casting votes and working on projects. And that's because we want to make sure that everything is working as best as possible with voting and extraction. So again, you don't want anybody, don't share your login with people and have multiple people working from the same account. All right, so let's go in now, do a live demo. All right, so the first thing you're going to see when you log in is a page similar to this one. I am logged in as myself right now. If you have accepted an invitation to join an institutional account or organization, it will appear on the drop-down menu here under your organization. And the reviews, I'm working on a lot of reviews here, as you can see, but they'll be delineated by your reviews, and then any different institutions that you're working with or collaborating on review projects, they will be delineated by their institution's name. And to actually create one of these review projects, you can simply click on Start a New Review. You'll give your review a unique title. You can select your review type. So, of course, a systematic review, but scoping reviews, rapid reviews, umbrella reviews, a standard literature review, or any other type of review project you can use Covidence for. Then you can select your question type, whether it be therapy, prevention, diagnosis, prognosis, or anything like that. You can select your question type and then select your area of research. So all areas of research really can use Covidence, but none of these selections will change anything about the platform itself. Aside from when you select area of research, if you select medical and health sciences, you will see an automation option here pop up. So this is a machine learning model that uses the Cochrane RCT classifier. So you can select if you want to tag references reporting on randomized controlled trials. This will tag studies on import as a possible RCT or a non-RCT. And then you can also automatically remove references reporting on non-RCTs before screening. So this can help reduce the amount of time it takes to screen, because it will automatically remove non-RCTs. And this is only available for medical and health sciences. due to just the nature of randomized controlled trials in the medical and health sciences. And this would be best used if you are doing an intervention review specifically and wanting to, and you know you want to exclude non-randomized controlled trials in your study. So that's the only aspect of these selections that will change anything about the platform itself. And if you have any questions about the review type or question type, you can click on the link here and read through what the definitions of what those are for both of these, review type and question type. And then you can select the account that you want to create your review against. Again, if you are a member of an institutional account, that will be delineated here, or if you purchased a review project, or if you're using your free trial, you'll see that under your name. And then you can create your new review project. So I'm going to go into a review that we have underway right now. The impact of social media use on body image in university students. So I'm going to show you this review. So this would be a non-intervention review that I'm showing you all, but let me go here first to the settings to kind of show you how to get things set up before you get started. So I'm clicking on settings here, and you'll see the review settings, and then you'll see everything that I just filled out on these first four questions here. The first four that I showed under the Start a New Review page. If you need to change your review name or title, you can do that here. Change your review type, question type, area of research, so on and so forth. And you see here under the area of research, we've got economic, business, and social sciences. So I am not seeing that automation option under here. But if this was a medical and health sciences review project, you'd see the option to tick or untick those boxes here. You can also document the date of your last search. So this, and also your search strategy. This can be helpful just so everything is in one place, especially if your reviews can take a while. So this way, your search strategy and your date of your last search is all documented in one place and not on a Google Doc on Lindia's computer where she has access to it, but the team doesn't. This way, everything's in one place for the entire team. You can also set up a few different rules required for screening. The default option, though, is 2 reviewers required to screen. If you are doing single reviewer mode, this is where you would change from 2 to 1. But please know that when you change this, it is going to move all references forward with a single vote, and it's not easy to go back and change that option for a second reviewer to come into screen. So if you know that eventually a second reviewer is going to come in to work with you on the project, you don't want to change this setting. And you can also select your extraction tool here. So I'm going to be showing you Extraction 2 today. Extraction 2 is best suited for non-intervention reviews and it's the most customizable. You can do it in either single or dual reviewer mode versus Extraction 1, which is recommended for Cochrane authors, and it's ideal for intervention reviews using a standardized PICO structure. So you want to use Extraction 1 if you're doing specifically a medical and health sciences based intervention review. And it only allows, Extraction 1 only allows for dual reviewer, but it also exports to, in addition to CSV, like Extraction 2, it has a direct export pathway to RevMan. Moving on to reviewers. This is where you would invite your team. So you'll see here, you can manage your review team by removing reviewers or inviting another reviewer. Moving on now to team settings. Here is where you can get an overall idea of how many references have been contributed, how many votes have been contributed to each reference, and the progress that's been done so far on a review project. So you can see here, I voted on 6 so far, 114 are done, so on and so forth. You can also manage some screening rules. So the default is everyone can do anything. That's the default setting. If you want to change that, you can add a person or different people under the all studies must be screened by either, or you can add someone under conflicts can be resolved by. So perhaps, for example, you want a senior member of the review team to be the only person who can resolve conflicts. You can add that this way. And this does also need to be set up. That's for title and abstract screening. That can also be set up separately for full text review. So the different stages of the review, you can see the team progress and screening rules. And in extraction, you'll manage that within the extraction tool itself. Moving on to eligibility criteria. So here is where if you're using a PICO format or a PECO format, being PECO being exposure instead of intervention, you can input your inclusion and exclusion criteria. We have done this in a bulleted format, but you can, these are text boxes, so you can add a long sentence, any information that you have outlined in your protocol, you can input here in the eligibility criteria for your inclusion and exclusion criteria. And I'll show you this in action once we get to the screening stage, but no, this is where you input that. But if you are also not using a PICO or PECO format, you can add anything, any other information. If you're using, for example, Spider, you could do that under this other field, okay? You can also add highlights. You can, and a lot of these words here will overlap within the eligibility criteria PICO question and the highlights. A lot of the words are going to overlap, but again, I mentioned the input for the eligibility criteria here are text boxes, and the highlights are going to be best used for single words or short specific word phrases. All right. So, and I'll show you this in action during the screening phase, but no, you can add your inclusion and exclusion criteria highlights here. You can add or remove them from this dashboard. You can also add your exclusion reasons here as well. So these will be applied at the full text review stage. You can add or manage them here. And last but not least, in the settings page is study tags. So you can add custom study tags here, depending on your team. You can add or delete them as needed. All right, so let's go back. I'm back here at the main dashboard. Let's take a look at the import function. So this is going to be the first step to any review project. And just so you know also, there's nothing that once you create your project, there's nothing you need to do to make all of these different sections appear, from importing, title and abstract screening, full text review, extraction. There's nothing you need to do. These numbers will be 0. But all of this framework is built into each review project. And everything that is built into the system is ultimately meant to walk you through the creation of a gold standard review project. So regardless of your level of experience, we're going to walk you through that creation of a good review project. So like I said, importing. That's your first step. to getting your Covidence review started. So I'm going to click on import here. So once you've done your search in a database, whether that be PubMed, CINAHL, Embase, whatever database that you're using, Google Scholar, you can export those files into one of these formats, one of these three formats. So we accept EndNote XML, PubMed format, or RAS text format. Most, if not all, databases have a direct export pathway to one of these three formats. Most being RAS format, but PubMed definitely uses PubMed format. You can also work in conjunction with a reference manager such as EndNote or Zotero to create compatible formats for import. Most of you all are going to select to import into Screen. So that's going to be the starting point for most people in Covidence when you import your studies. But if you have done some screening outside of Covidence, you can select to import maybe into included. So maybe you've done your whole project and then you find a resource that you're like, oh, I have to include that. You can import that directly into included so that you don't have to go through the whole voting process. But most people are going to import into Screen. Then you can select your source type, meaning the database that you've done your search in. You can select your source type, and if the database you searched is not here on the drop-down menu, you can add any custom source that you need to. And then you'll choose your file and click import. You can also take a view of your import history and see how many duplicates were detected, how many were added to screening. If you did have a file that perhaps for an EndNote that came from multiple sources, you can add multiple sources as long as you know how many sources came from each database, as long as the numbers reconcile. See, mine are not reconciling now. As long as the numbers reconcile, then it should look good. And this will automatically populate your PRISMA flow diagram. Click cancel there. And then once you import, the references are automatically deduplicated. So you'll see the auto-marked duplicates here. And you'll see where the primary reference is located. This one's located in included, and then it's duplicate here. If any references slip through the cracks, you can manually mark duplicates as you screen, and they will appear here in your manually marked duplicates section. And if you did select to use that Cochrane RCT classifier, I did not on this review, but if you did, it would appear within this remove before screening section, and you can look through them, and ultimately, if you want to, disable or enable a feature. So once you've imported your references, you can begin title and abstract screening. So this team progress bar here on the left-hand side is going to be the same for everyone on the review team. You'll be able to see the progress, conflicts, so on and so forth. So these numbers on the left-hand side are going to look the same for everybody, but then the numbers on the right-hand side are unique to my account and the work that I have done on this review project so far. So the numbers here are going to look different for everybody based on the work they've done and any rules you have set up in the settings, whether or not I could resolve conflicts or anything like that. So let me click continue here. So you're going to be making your decision, yes, maybe, or no, based on the information that can be read in the title and the abstract. So I can vote here, and I can do a quick undo if I realize, oh wait, I didn't mean to vote that way. You can do a quick undo if you see something, and that's how you're going to make your decisions. Let me show you here the criteria. So where I input that my inclusion and exclusion criteria in the PICO format, or if I use the other category here, you can also edit. You can click on the edit button from here. But just one person on the team needs to input this information for the entire team to see it. So this is a sticky list here that that everyone on the team can see as they're voting, so that they're clear on the inclusion and exclusion criteria for the project as they're screening. And here are the highlights. You can see here inclusion criteria are in green. Let me see if I can find a red one. I'm going to select a different sort option, actually. Let's see. I'm changing this to most relevant, and our most relevant sort option actually uses a machine learning model where as the team screens, it is going to learn your screening behavior and bring studies most likely to be included first. This can be especially helpful if you're working in a large review team where different teams are working in tandem. Some people are still working on title and abstract, while some people are getting underway on full text review. You do have to screen at least 25 references, with at least 2 being yes votes and 2 being no votes for the most relevant sort option to kick in. But of course, you can also sort by most recent, title, or author here. And you can also hide or show abstracts. You can also tag references. So if I select this little tick box here, I can apply a tag. Wait, I think that one already had the tag. There we go. So you can apply a tag or remove a tag. You can also add notes. You can see here I've added a note here previously. Test note 2, 3. But note that notes and tags are not blinded. So you do want to be careful what type of notes and tags that you're adding so that you don't inadvertently bias your co-reviewers. All right. But all of the votes themselves are blinded. So the default setting is a team of reviewers. If you are the first person to vote on a reference, it's going to go into your awaiting other reviewer tab here. And then you'll be able to see how you voted. You can have the opportunity to change your vote while the references are in awaiting other reviewer. If a reference has received 2 no votes, that is going to move it to the irrelevant references tab here. If a reference receives a yes and a no vote, or a maybe and a no vote, that is going to go into the conflicts. And that is going to have a third and adjudicating vote. You'll be able to see who voted, but not how they voted. And also, yes or maybe votes move references forward to full text review. We often get questions about what does the maybe vote do? We have the maybe vote to say maybe based on the information in the title and the abstract. Some of you all know, sometimes that doesn't glean a lot of information and you're not sure if the study should be included or excluded, a yes or a no, based on the information in here. So maybe can mean you need to look at the full text of that study to be able to ultimately make your decision. And you can also mark, so if you do realize that a duplicate has slipped through the cracks, if you click on the duplicate button here, that will move references to the manually marked duplicate section of your review. All right. Okay, so that's title and abstract screening. And if you have voted yes or maybe, if a reference has received a yes or a maybe vote, that will move it forward to full text review. I'm going to click continue here. So based on the title of this section, full text review, that means you're going to be looking at the full text PDFs, the full text actually of the studies. So you can show or hide abstracts there. You can individually upload full text here. You can choose a PDF or link to it, or you can use our bulk upload feature. So this works in conjunction with a reference manager. Either EndNote or Zotero are compatible with the bulk upload. I won't go into too much detail on bulk upload because I could spend a whole hour on this, or 45 minutes on this. We have a recording of a webinar on retrieving full text, which includes a demonstration of bulk upload using each of these tools. Just know that is available to you, and we have step-by-step guides up to, if you don't want to watch a webinar, we have step-by-step guides in our knowledge base for that. Let me filter here by, you have some filter options. I'm going to filter by has full text for the purposes of this demonstration. So you'll be able, if somebody individually uploads a full text, you'll be able to see which team member did that. But we will also automatically upload any open access articles. So you'll be able to see, so once a reference moves forward to full text review, as long we use the DOI number to retrieve the open access article. So as long as the DOI number is included in your import file, we can pull open access articles. So you can read the full text of the study here to then make your decision on if you want to include or exclude the study. So you'll see here that you're not seeing the yes, maybe, no vote anymore. You're seeing the decision to include or exclude. When you click on exclude, you're going to be prompted to select a reason for that. You can edit or add anything that you need to here. But we do recommend coming up with a hierarchy among your team. You could even number these reasons, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. We recommend coming up with a hierarchy of reasons. So a hierarchy meaning, for example, at the bottom of the pyramid, reason 1 that you're going to look at, if this uses the wrong study design, then I'm going to exclude it. There could be lots of other things wrong with it. Maybe it has the wrong population, wrong exposure, so on and so forth for your project. But if you have a hierarchy of reasons, that can help reduce the amount of time it takes to resolve conflicts. Because there are 2 types of conflicts that can arise in full text review. The obvious one being somebody voted to include, somebody voted to exclude. I need to make my final decision here. But then the second type of conflict that can arise in full text review is the exclusion reason. So you will have to resolve the conflict of the exclusion reason here, because only one reason can be associated with a study on the PRISMA flow diagram. So if you come up with a hierarchy of reasons, that will cut down on the amount of time it takes to resolve any conflicts. And then just the same as the title and abstract screening, if you're the first person to vote on something, it'll go to your awaiting other reviewer tab. You can change your vote if you need to. And once a reference has received 2 exclude votes, it's going to move to your excluded references section. You'll be able to see when it was excluded and why it was excluded. And once voting has been completed on a reference in this stage, you can click on the history button and see when and which team member voted on each reference and how they voted. All right. And then once you have voted to include studies, you can move on to extraction. So I'm showing you all extraction 2 today. So I'm going to click on one that is in progress. I'm going to click on begin extraction here. So you'll be able to see the full text of the article here, and you can create custom data extraction forms. So that's what I'm seeing over here on the right-hand side of my screen. I can create a custom data extraction form unique to the data collection that I need for my project. So this helps to standardize the data collection so that you can do whatever analysis that you need to ultimately write your paper and get it published. So this will standardize the data collection among the team, and you can read the full text here. You can create custom tables here, like I'm seeing. You can create checkboxes or a single selection here, and you can copy and paste from within. You can copy and paste information within here to then fill out the form. You can also zoom in if you need to, zoom out, look at thumbnails, so you can jump down the page if there's like a figure or table that you know I need to look at that. You can look at that. You can flip pages if you have a page that has a table that's sideways, and you can search within. So you can search within the document, and instead of like a Control F search, which would search everything on this page, you can just search within the document, which is very helpful. You can also conduct quality assessment or risk of bias within this form. The default is the Cochrane Risk of Bias 1 tool, but you can see here, this is a custom data extraction tool that you can then fill out, or a custom quality assessment tool, excuse me, that you can fill out the information here and make your selection or enter any supporting text. Then I can click save, but when I'm ready, I can click on send for consensus. I'm not going to save any of those changes there. I'm going to go to consensus required here to this. I'm going to click on begin consensus here. So this is just some dummy data here, but so extraction and quality assessment is blinded from co-reviewers. So you won't be able to see, so when you are doing your original data extraction, you won't be able to see how your co-reviewer did it until it gets into this consensus stage. So either one of these, reviewer 1 or reviewer 2, or a third different reviewer, in this case I'm a third different reviewer, can go in and check the answers and decide which answer is going to be the right one for your review team. If I agree with Gita, I can click on that here, or if I don't agree with either of them, I can add my own. Answer here. And then as I'm resolving these conflicts to do my final decision, I am seeing the number of conflicts left to resolve go down. And then once I have done everything I want to do in here, I can click on save if I need to come back to it, or click complete. So once I clicked complete, then I would be able to see my final data, my final selection here for both quality assessment and for data extraction. I'll be able to see my completed data. And ultimately, once I have completed my data extraction quality assessment, now let me click on here. And this is where you would set up your template. You can add different sections or headings here. We've got the editor within here, and then the preview of the form here. You can save this as a draft, but for the template to go live, you do have to publish it. So you have to publish the template before everyone on the team can see it. And before you can begin extraction, you have to publish a template. So that's what I was showing you. Here is that template that I created. All right. And then once you have completed your data extraction quality assessment, you can export that data. So here on the extraction export, I'm going to go from right to left here. So for your extraction, you can export it you can export various different files of data extraction consensus only, all data, everything in between, and that will export into CSV format. We will also calculate your inter-rater reliability, which is the level of agreement between voting pairs. And we calculate that separately for title and abstract screening and full text review. So this export also contains the Cohen's-Kappa coefficient if you need that for your publication. You can also export study lists or the references from each list. So maybe, for example, you've completed your project. You're going to export all of your included studies, and then you could export that into a reference manager format. And then that will help you create a bibliography for the paper you're going to write. You can also export into CSV format, but note that these study lists are going to be based on where references are currently located in your review project. So we sometimes get questions in the support inbox asking, why is my reference CSV file blank? It's most often because they have exported title and abstract screening, but they have completed title and abstract screening. So there's nothing in there to screen. Everything has been moved either to irrelevant or full text review. This export is based on where the studies are currently located. So if you do get a blank file, especially for this references one, it's because you have completed the screening for that section. And to get everything screened to get everything that you screened in title and abstract, you might have to export a couple different lists here, such as included, excluded, and irrelevant. So I'm back here at the review summary page. I clicked on the export button from extraction, but I can also click on export up here as well on the review summary page, and it takes me right back to where I was. I've been talking about PRISMA as I've gone along here. So we will automatically calculate your PRISMA flow diagram for you. So at import, if you selected a source, you can see that here, as well as your exclusion reasons. We will tally up all of those and show them to you. And as you vote within the platform, this will automatically update. So the studies you've screened move to irrelevant, full text included, duplicates, we calculate that all for you. You can also view this as text if you want to copy and paste this to use in a different, more easily copy and paste to use it in a different format. You can also download this as a docx file. Let me pull that up for you. All right, here we go. So this is just a Word document. It is completely editable. So you can add or remove any of these sections that you need to. And we have tried to align this Word document download, with the PRISMA 2020 guidelines. And we will also have a date stamp here, so you know when you exported your PRISMA. And you can use this as is, but you might need to do some editing for it. We have this Word document download because we realized that different journals have different requirements for the PRISMA publication, and also different review projects that you're doing. You're all unique, and you might need to change up some things, but this at least gives you a very good starting point. Even if you can't use it 100% as is, it gets you almost all the way there. All right, that was a lot of information that I just covered. We'll have some time for questions now, but before I do that, and thank you, Delindia, for answering questions as we have gone along here, I am going to have you all fill out a poll for me one last time before we do questions. And how confident are you feeling after this webinar about using Covidence for your review project? You can select one of those three answers: very confident, somewhat confident, or not confident at all. I'll give you guys a few moments here to fill that out. I still see a few responses rolling in. I'll give you like 5 more seconds. All right, closing the poll now. All right, so only 7% of you are feeling not confident at all. That's good. I think we started at like 50%, 69% somewhat confident, and 23% very confident. Thank you all for filling that out for me. And just so you know, you can get into contact with us at any time at support@covidence.org, as well as visiting our knowledge base, which covers all areas of the platform, contains recordings of webinars like these. And like I said, any questions you have, you can write into us. Both Delindia and I answer questions that come through this email. So if you've ever written in, you may have gotten a response from us, but you can contact us anytime with questions. And our knowledge base, I'll show you where you can get to that. Within your Covidence page, you can click on the link here that takes you directly to our knowledge base, which covers all areas of the platform, from setting up your review to data extraction and quality assessment. And it contains recent webinars, recordings of our step-by-step, and that's our recent webinars, our upcoming webinars as well. You may have been to this page to sign up for this one here. You may have gotten one of our emails, but we are running we always run a Covidence 101 every month, but later, I think this one's next week, we're running our step 1, setting up the review in Covidence. You can click on details and registration. That will convert it to your time zone, and you'll receive recordings. And even if the time zone doesn't convert to something convenient for you, if you sign up you'll get a recording of it. All right, so questions now. Delindia, were there any questions that would benefit you or me to answer while
Yes.
I prepare?
Thank you, Stephanie. If you could show how under import, how sources are managed under import. We had a few questions as it relates to that.
Yeah, so as you import, you can, and I'm thinking you're talking about source type. So you can select your source type, your source at import if you want to. If you forget to do that, or if you want to add additional sources to your file here, you can go to import history and click on source here. And you would do this if you have a source from like EndNote or Zotero that contains a search from both PubMed and CINAHL, for example. You can add that, and then as long as the numbers reconcile here, so like say 5 sources came from CINAHL and 65 came from PubMed, you can add that, and then this will populate your PRISMA flow diagram and do that automatic calculation for you. So you can see that here in your source type. You can also undo an import here. You can only undo an import if you have not begun screening yet. So if you've begun screening, you'll see this message here, undo import disabled. You can also undo an import if you have not started screening yet. I hope that answers the question, Delindia.
Yes, that was great, Stephanie. That was in reference to several questions that came through. So thank you. Can you also demonstrate applying multiple tags to a reference?
Oh, yes. Let me click continue here. So this tag button's grayed out until I tick this button here. You can add all of these tags if you want to. Just tick these buttons here, click off, and then all of those will be added. And you can remove them as needed as well. Great question.
Yes. Thank you, Stephanie. And there was a question to come in that would like us to decipher the difference between a free trial and a paid subscription. Would you like to answer that
Oh,
question as
yes.
well?
So let me even go to our knowledge base where I think we have a nice table of it. But our free trial allows for screening of 500 references, a maximum of 500 references with a maximum of 2 reviewers. So that's our free trial option. Anybody can sign up for that. Our paid option allows for unlimited references and unlimited number of reviewers. So I do encourage you all. So we have our free trial, but we also have a demo review. This is linked on everyone's homepage. So I've just clicked on, I'm here, I'm logged in as myself. Scroll down to the bottom of your page and click on demo review. This is a sandbox. It resets. So I can see this is a demo environment, but this allows you to try out features and functionality so that you don't have to do it in your either paid or trial review project. You can try out different features and functionality within this demo or sandbox environment. But anybody, like I said, anybody can create a Covidence account and be invited to work on any review project, but that's the distinction between the free trial, 2 reviewers, 500 references. You've also got this demo review that everyone has, so you can do stuff within here. So if you want to try out data extraction, you can do that within here as well.
Yes. And I think we have time for one last question. Would you be able to show our latest releases under data extraction?
Yeah, so let me see here. I think this does have, so you'll see latest changes that will pop up on, you might see a little red button. We do have a new feature for data extraction suggestions within extraction 1. So you'll be able, so this is a machine learning feature tool that we have in the extraction 1 tool. I showed you all extraction 2 today, but within extraction 1, this is a bit of a machine learning option that we have that is going to help suggest fields for your data extraction, such as basic things like the title, funding sources, information like that is published. You can see any updates we have. It'll give you a little red thing on our latest changes.
Excellent, Stephanie. Thank you very much. And one last question, does Covidence offer translation?
So our platform is only in English. However, let me click just here on, so you can, the studies that you import can be in any language. So based on the information that is in your database that you do your search in, you can import information in any language. So the information that you import, so the references can be in any language. However, the platform right now is currently just in English. So you'll still see the no, maybe, yes options here. There's not a translation for that at this time.
Okay, and
All right.
that's it. Stephanie, thank you.
Thank you so much, Celindia, and thank you all for your time. I encourage you to sign up for a Covidence account, give it a go, try out the demo review, or try out one of our free trials. All right, thank you all so much, and goodbye.